I'm not really sure what happened there, but we're keeping going. We'll call this video part 2. I'm about to fill the cannoli shells real quick. Your first question for your assignment. We just saw the yeast dough donuts. We fried up the cake donuts. You heard a little bit about me talking about the method that's used to mix them, the makeup, how the differences of makeup, the differences of preparation, production-wise, and then frying. First question is, what are the main differences of the cake and the yeast donuts? From everything from the method for making up to the production to actually going into the fryer. What are the main differences between those two products, okay? And then we're gonna go ahead and start filling these cannoli shells. These are the ones that I just fried, but they're still kind of hot, so I'm gonna pull out the ones that I already made for you guys. I actually got a tray right there. So. Ready to eat food, right? So I'm gonna grab some gloves. Now, a cannoli is typically filled with a sweetened ricotta filling. There is a recipe in your book right after cannoli shells. Do you have to use a recipe? I really don't. Only because it's essentially ricotta mixed with a sweet whipped cream. Ricotta is not necessarily sweet to begin with, but adding sugar to it does add a pleasantly sweet flavor to this cheese that, like cream cheese, it tastes good sweetened. So mixed with a light fluffy whipped cream gives this nice sturdy but light and fluffy sweetened ricotta filling. And that's typically what a cannoli is filled with. The filling can be changed to a million different flavors though. You can put nuts in it, you can put fruit in it. The toppings on the outside are optional once again. I like mini chocolate chips. You could do pistachios, you could do sprinkles, you could do whatever you want. You could do nothing. You could leave it plain on the outside. But still, the standard for the center is that sweetened ricotta filling, whether it's flavored chocolate, strawberry, or it's just plain, which this one is here. So you're gonna take your cannoli shells. I suggest putting the filling in a piping bag and fill each end, all the way to the end. From the end to the end. Both ends so that you can fill the cannoli all the way full, and then boom, just like that. And this is something that's really, really quick and easy. I mean, I used to fill 10 of these in less than 5 minutes and have them garnished ready to go. As you can see, it really is not very time consuming. A lot of people will not actually make cannoli shells. A lot of people buy them pre-made. As you can see, they weren't really hard to make, but a lot of people don't have fryers. Doing a bunch of 100 mini cannoli shells can be kind of a pain. And the products, I will be honest, the convenience products, the cannoli shell convenience products, the ones that are pre-made, are really a great cannoli shell. They're really nothing to be scoffed off at. So if you can, you get away with finding those good convenience products so you don't have to waste your time making a ton of mini cannoli shells from scratch. That might be an option for you. You always have to think what's easier for you and your production style, okay? As you can see there, I've almost filled, what, 15 cannolis in less than 2 minutes. Almost less than a minute. Boom. Boom. Oh, that one fell right through there. Boom. Okay, I had a little mistake on that one, but they actually look pretty good. Put that right back there. What I do, once I get them ready to go, your chopped nuts, your chocolate chips, whatever those little, we call them garnish toppings on the cannoli, have those ready to go in a separate container because this is going to get messy. There's a lot of wet cream right there, right? But I'm going to use that to adhere the chocolate chips. So boom, boom, and I don't know what else to say. Look at that. It's a beautiful cannoli, like professional looking cannoli. I would pay $2 to $3 for those all day long. Boom, we'll get those right in there. Boom, boom. I love my sound effects. Boom, boom. And you honestly can have a bunch of cannolis done in a really short amount of time. I order the shells in. And every place I've ever worked, I've ordered the shells in. It wasn't until here that we started doing the fresh shells, and they're just so easy. I like to show you guys how to do them. Cannolis are such a staple in this industry. You really need to know and understand how to do a cannoli from scratch, but a lot of people rarely do. So boom, look at that. Whole tray full of delicious cannolis. I'm gonna put those right down there. I'm gonna put this stuff off to the side. I'm gonna get back to what I was doing. Cannoli shells came up. We did the cake donuts. The yeast donuts we're still waiting on to rise a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to do a simple fritter with a fritter batter. Wow, let's try that again. Simple fritter with a fritter batter, and using that same fritter batter, how to make a funnel cake. Simple funnel cakes just like you see at the fair, nothing too crazy, okay? Essentially a fritter, usually, don't include the fritter, the apple fritter that I just made, okay? Put that out of your head. A fritter typically is going to include a batter mixed with other ingredients. Now, if we're talking a sweet fritter, it could be an apple fritter like I made, fruit fritters, nut fritters, you could really do anything with them. You also will see savory fritters. If you've gone out to any seafood restaurant, you'll see a shrimp fritter, a mussel fritter, clam fritter. I've seen a million different types. Adding similar batters and doughs into other ingredients. They have a high flour content though. Not doughy, but they still have a high enough flour content, thinking like a pancake batter or a cornmeal, a cornbread batter almost. Mixing them all together and then dropping scoops or handfuls of this concoction into the fryer, and it solidifies and comes together like a fritter. That's what a fritter is technically. Now these apple fritters here essentially are the same thing, right? They still have that yeast dough, they've got fruit all coming together into this big mushy concoction. Typically though, a fritter is made with something a little bit wetter and more of a batter style like we have here, thinking more like pancake batter. Other ingredients are mixed into it and then they are dropped in the fryer. The reason why I kind of show you this method and that method is that works really great for professional, large apple fritters or fruit fritters that come out. They have a great appearance and they hold their shape really well. That's why I like them, because you can pick them up and you can move them and sell them pretty easily. They're not falling apart everywhere on you. Okay, I made some in the past. I've tried to make apple fritters with this batter before. It just didn't hold its shape and it didn't fry correctly, okay? So that's why that works really well for the other fruit and fritter batters. This I like to use more so than anything for if I was doing a food truck at a fair and I wanted to do fried Oreos, fried Snickers, fried Twix, all those fried goofy candy bars that people are doing. They're essentially making a quick fritter batter 1 out of your book. That's what I used right here. And then they're dropping different things into it, like their Oreos, like their Twix, like their Snickers, and then they're pulling it back out of the batter and dropping it into the fryer. Here I have mini little Snickers bars, so we're gonna give that a shot, okay? Then right after that, I'm gonna show you how to make funnel cakes using this, once again, same batter, fritter batter 1, and just a round ring, okay? So real quick, let's look at these Snickers fritters and let's give them a shot, okay? Whenever you're doing fried things that have, like I showed, like the part 3 video you're gonna see after this, the mozzarella sticks, or this right here, you've got a couple different things going on in the fryer, wet, dry, nasty batters and things like that. You try to work cleanly, meaning with this specifically, we'll do a dry hand and we'll do a wet hand. This hand is what I'm going to use to put things into the batter and pull them out into the fryer. This hand I'm going to do everything else with. I'm going to control the bowls, if I need to whisk something, if I need to grab that basket out of the fryer, if I need to use the tongs for something, that's my dry hand. So we try to work pretty cleanly with that, okay? This is going to be a little trickier to show you guys. Okay, I'm going to drop these into the batter real quick with one hand, and then I'm going to grab the camera and we'll drop them into the fryer, okay? So boom, 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 boom. Let me grab the camera. Back to the fryer. Beautiful. Okay, and I got a couple of fun-sized Snickers bars in this bad boy. Okay, so I'm gonna just toss those so that they're fully coating my Snickers bars, and then I'm gonna drop them in the fryer. Fritters and donuts, a lot of the times you'll see me drop things right into the oil. If I'm worried about the consistency, that's when I will drop it in the basket. If it's a yeast donut where I'm not worried about it making a mess or falling apart, then I can drop it right into the oil. But for these, I'm going in the basket, okay? So let's make sure they're coated really well in the fritter batter. Move this over here a little bit so I don't make a huge mess. And then boom, right in. Right in. Right in. Boom. I'm gonna throw this glove away real quick. Okay, and we're back. You can already see one starting to float there. I'll just shake them off the bottom so that they don't stick, and usually they start floating instantly after that. Once again, things are done when they are floating and they are golden brown. So we're starting to see floating already, but I do not see golden brown. And I want them to evenly cook, so I'm gonna actually sandwich them gently. Give them a second there to just kind of crisp up and get golden brown. The inside's fully cooked. It's a Snickers bar, right? I really don't need to cook the inside, so I'm just waiting for the outside batter to get golden brown and done, and then I am finished with these, okay? Let those go for a second. This oil, typically for a good fryer, is running between 365 and 375. Your boiling water is only sitting at 212, so you can instantly see this is very, very dangerous, okay? Now, you remember when I was showing you how to use the fryer, your heating element is down here, right? All that fire is what heats the oil. All that fire and heat has to have a place to go. So, the back of your fryer, which is this little hole right here, is the exhaust pipe. That is a direct line down to those flames. If anything, and I mean anything, goes down that exhaust pipe, it will be very bad. It will instantly hit those flames and can possibly explode. A lot of things that you deal with here are very, very dangerous. People can get hurt very, very quickly with a fryer, as well as when we're cleaning. When we're cleaning this fryer, we have to get down here, release all the oil, and quickly scrub it out. Everything is very, very hot in here. You have to be very, very careful. As well as for your customers, right? Fried foods aren't always the healthiest. Oils, cholesterol, things like that, getting mixed into your foods in large quantities aren't going to help your customers. They're going to hurt your customers. So thinking this is not only a safety risk for your employees, but can be for your customers as well. Use a fryer correctly. You should be using this fryer correctly. We're gonna grab these bad boys out of here. Oh, and look at that. This little baby fried Snickers bars. And then with these, I could sit there and plate them really nicely. If I had a nice porcelain plate, line them up, drizzle some sauce on top, or add some whipped cream off to the side. And I could sell those all day for $6 to $7. Look how simple that was though. A quick little fried Snickers bar. Okay, fritter batter 1 works really, really well. All right, let's take a pick at my yeast donuts, and if they're not done, we'll go ahead and garnish the cake donuts. I do have this funnel cake real quick. See if I can do this with 2 hands. Okay. You're gonna look at the fryer while I'm talking about doing this, but a funnel cake traditionally was called a funnel cake because they were putting a really, really wet, like that, pancake batter style fritter batter essentially into a fryer in a thin stream going through a funnel, frying, and then that's what essentially all you're eating is a fried dough. A lot of times at the fairs, they will use a ring to keep it into a manageable shape, so they don't have to go in and scoop out a bunch of random little swirlies of funnel cake. It stays all in one shape, so they can grab it out as one large product and put it onto the plate. It makes life a little bit easier. Thinking about what happens in the fryer with these batters, the batters instantly rise, especially if there's nothing heavy to hold them down. This, if I put that batter directly into the fryer, it is instantly gonna rise. So if I hold this ring at the top of the oil, in the oil, and put the batter inside of that ring, it is going to float right back to the top and it's going to hold its shape. We're trying to hold the ring towards the top of the oil, not the bottom of the oil. I'm going to try to film this. I don't know if I'll be able to do it. Yeah, we'll give it a shot. Okay. Let me grab my batter. Boom. I'll be honest, this is really difficult. 2 hands, but give it a shot. You can't see anything. Okay, let's try this. Let's try it a little different. handy dandy camera. Yeah, there we go. So now you can actually see pretty well down in that fryer while I'm doing this. Okay. So I'm gonna grab this ring, I'm gonna keep it to the top, and we're gonna pour some of this batter in there. Just on the top there. And then we're gonna pour once the funnel cake starts to set, then you can release the ring. The ring is to only hold its shape for a small amount of time. Once it holds its shape, you can release the ring. The shape makes our lives easier when we're going to put it onto a plate. So it's already there. You can see it's starting to hold its shape. So I'm going to drop the ring. Now the ring is dropped to the bottom of the fryer. My funnel cake is holding its shape. If the top is getting a little bit under while the bottom is fully cooked, flip it. Look at that. These are little mini funnel cakes, nothing too crazy. The ring, very, very important though. When you're doing these funnel cakes, the ring is very, very important. They don't take very long either. There's nothing in the batter except the fritter batter. It's not going to take very long. So you give it a second. Let it fry up. If you need to flip it again, you can. You can grab that ring back out of there too. Set it right here. Boom. Have little mini funnel cakes. Look at that. It's adorable. When you're doing things like this though, you have to work cleanly. So you can see here, I already got a bunch of little crispity crunchities in my fryer. So I'm gonna get what we call the spider. We can just fish all these bad boys right out of here. A lot of times you'll have a garbage can real close by. Realizing these are really hot and there's definitely some oil dripping off of them, so if that goes right in the garbage can, it'll probably melt your garbage bag. Just work carefully. I don't throw them directly into the garbage. I'll wait a little bit. Okay, so that's the funnel cake essentially. How are we garnishing a funnel cake? A lot of times they're just doing those quick chocolate sauces, caramel sauce, nothing too crazy. For this one, I'm just gonna use a quick boop, powdered sugar, just like they do at the fair. I'm even try it too. Since you guys aren't here, I gotta eat some of this stuff, right? It's actually not bad too. It's a little doughy. It could probably be in there a little bit longer. That's a lot of the time dealing with fried foods is what you have to do. You have to test things. Take one, test it. Does it need to go longer? Should it be more golden brown? Is a little doughy in the center? So now you know, make the changes and the next product that you're gonna make is a lot better. But that's actually one pretty good funnel cake right there. Okay. Back there. It's like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. You guys are coming with me today. Going all over the place. Let's check on these yeast donuts. Hopefully they're ready to go. So those actually rose a little bit. Yeah, I think we're about good. We're gonna give those a shot. They're a little bit lighter, a little bit fluffier. They're not too dense. So we're gonna go ahead and give them a shot, see how it goes. Boom, we have our donuts. These yeast dough donuts are such a great consistency that I won't even use a basket. I won't use nothing. I'll drop these bad boys right into the fryer and start frying them up. Once again, making sure that you are always dropping things towards the back of the fryer. And this being a yeast dough product that is already risen a little bit, hopefully, it's gonna be very, very fragile. So you're not trying to manhandle these off the tray. You're just gonna drop them, pick them up and drop them gently. And I will fill as many as I can into this fryer at one time. Everything but donut holes. Everything but donut holes. I'll show you how to do the donut holes in a second, but in donuts, everything but donut, or the donut holes, usually I'll drop right in there without a basket. Cake donuts, you could probably do without a basket too, but just play it safe. If you don't want to have to clean up a big mess, a basket is usually the safe bet. So here, you see these bad boys, they fry very quickly. They've already risen a little bit, they've already started floating to the top, and they've already started to get a nice golden brown on the bottom. So that's what I want to keep an eye on. These fry very quickly, and I don't want them to overcook. So if they start to get too dark, you you're gonna get a little bit of a different consistency. You're gonna get a little bit of a burnt flavor possibly, so you wanna catch them at the right time. And try to keep an eye on the ones that you put in first and the one that you put in last. The first one's gonna need to flip first, right? It's probably gonna be done first, so keep an eye on that. That one looks delicious. Delicious. We're gonna go ahead and flip all these bad boys. They're looking really good. Look how quickly that was though. Not very long, right? Very, very quick. If for some reason, like this one right here, it might be a little light on the top compared to the rest of them. If it needs a little bit longer, you can always flip it back over for another 20, 30 seconds. Realizing the longer that these sit in here though, the more time they're gonna have to absorb the oil, especially if the oil is heated correctly. If the oil is heated correctly, you're assuming that you've minimized that as much as possible, but oil can still get absorbed into these doughs, so you just have to be careful. You don't want it to take too long in the fryer. And a proper donut, I probably could have had these rise up a little bit more in the proofer, but a proper donut should have that ring around the edge, in my opinion. That ring where it didn't quite fry all the way. You can start to see that ring a little bit right there on the edge, where it just poofs up so much in the fryer that each side gets brown, but there's a little ring right around the middle that just didn't get fried. And I love seeing that. Whenever I see a good donut with that ring, I know it was done right. You can see a little bit of the ring right there, a little bit. But once you get that nice golden brown color on both sides, you're really ready to go. You can go ahead and grab these bad boys out of the oven. Out of the oven. Jesus. Out of the fryer. And you're pretty much ready to go. Look at those amazing, amazing donuts. This one's a little lighter, so I'm gonna flip it back over. My battery's about to die. I should have enough time to do the rest of these. Okay. Boom. So, real quick, I'm gonna show you how to do the donut holes too. I use a basket. Donut holes tend to roll around and float so quickly. I use a basket and then I sandwich them. I make sure that they get nice and light and golden brown before they come up. I'm gonna go ahead and drop over on this side the 2 jelly-filled donuts. We'll see how those go. Oh, they look amazing. We're gonna let those go for a second. I'm gonna just check out my glazes. So these are a couple of glazes I'm meaning to use to top the donuts. Here I have caramel. Here I have that quick donut glaze like we've made for literally everything in the bakery so far. And this is why I call it donut glaze, because it's meant for donuts. It works perfectly. And then I have here some chocolate ganache that looks like it probably should be warmed back up just a little bit. I'm gonna actually put that in the oven because I'm lazy. You can melt chocolate ganache in the oven, but you just have to keep a really close eye on it because it will burn very, very quickly. So, boom, look at those bad boys. They're ready to go. Fry them up. We're gonna take a peek at our donut holes. Donut holes done. Look at that. So I'm gonna hang that basket up there like that. Just let those bad boys dry out while the other 2 right there are still frying. And then I have my chocolate ganache in the oven. I'm gonna put the camera back on the podium and we're going to garnish the rest of these donuts. The apple fritters haven't quite risen enough, but I'm gonna go ahead and drop a couple in there just so you guys can see what they look like when they come out. We're running out of time. My phone's about to die, so I'm gonna try and speed this up very, very quickly. Apple fritters that we made, those those hamburger patty looking shapes, right? We got our jelly-filled donuts about to be done here. That's what I mean by that ring right there. That's that ring that I like to see on all my donuts. If they've been proofed and risen properly, you'll usually see that little bit of a raw ring right there. Okay. These apple fritters, because they're a little bit fragile, once again, I use a basket. I use the basket to keep them so that if they do something happens and I gotta go find them, I just lift the basket up. Go ahead, drop a couple of those bad boys into the basket there and start letting them fry up. While those guys are going, I'm gonna show you how to garnish a couple of these donuts. A couple of quick, simple donut garnishes. Nothing too crazy, okay? If I'm doing donut holes, I used to do a ton of these and sell the donut holes all the time. While they're still hot, a quick way to garnish is right into some cinnamon sugar. Boom, toss them in a little bowl. Make sure that they're coated really nicely. The heat will actually make that cinnamon sugar stick to the donut holes, and boom, look, ready to go, okay? Here, if you have these, there's so many different ways that you can garnish these regular donuts right here. So for this one, I got just a chocolate ganache. I'm gonna take it, dip it. If the donut's still a little bit hot, that ganache actually doesn't like to stick too well, so you actually wanna let the donut cool before you do the ganache, but you can start to see, boom, it's starting to stick right there. And then, typically what I'll do is I'll take some kind of different colored sprinkle. Chocolate's chocolate, so I'll take that white or colored sprinkles if I have them. Boom, right onto the chocolate there. And I'm gonna dip them again once they cool down a little bit. Here, I'll do a cake donut so that you can see the difference. Once the donut's fully cool and you dip them in a ganache, they stick actually really nice. You get a really nice clean looking donut. Look at that, fantastic, okay? That's with the chocolate ganache. You can do a bunch of different flavors, different sprinkles on top, a quick chocolate donut. Just flipping these apple fritters back here in the back. Boom. Once again, the donut glaze, right? I can use a quick donut glaze. Make it thin enough so that they do dip into them, and then when you do dip these bad boys, you let them hang. Let them get some hang time. So I'll dip them, hang them, and then put them on the rack. The donut glaze is up to you. If you want a nice Krispy Kreme, I think they do the really thin glaze, whereas like Dunkin' Donuts will do the thicker glaze. That's completely up to you. That is style once again. But if I'm doing a white glaze, I usually like to do a different colored sprinkle so that I can actually see it. So for this one, I have some chocolate sprinkles. Let me make sure that my camera's still on. My phone didn't die, fantastic. Here we have some chocolate sprinkles. Put those on top. You really want to make sure that you do it while your glaze is still wet, otherwise it won't stick, right? If your glaze isn't wet, those sprinkles are not going to stick. Ooh, okay, just trying to show you some quick things real quick. Donuts are so amazingly versatile. Where is my tongue? That you can do anything that you want on the toppings. So, right now I have chocolate and I have caramel and I have coconut. I used to come up with tons of different types of flavors of donuts. The kids always love seeing new and different types of flavors. This was one that I came up with really quickly because I always had ganache, usually had caramel somewhere close by, and coconut was really easy. These fritters are just about done, so make a quick Samoa donut. Check this out. Boom, we got our caramel sauce. Dip your caramel. Oh, that looks amazing. Then, if you can, you put your chocolate into a squeeze bottle. Since I don't have the time to do that, I'm going to use this to just drizzle the chocolate. Oh. It looks really, really good. And then coconut. And that's what I always called the Samoa donut. Those things sold like hotcakes. Now, you have our apple fritters. Just came out of the fryer. Looking like Salisbury steaks or hamburgers. Whatever you want to call it. I think they look kind of funny, but look how amazingly golden brown, light, and fluffy these bad boys are. Now, if they're too dense in the center, that is probably because they didn't proof enough. And I really didn't have a whole lot of time to proof them here. I wanted a little bit more, but they were probably a little underproofed. So that might be why they're a little doughy in the center, but make sure that you make them really, really thin if you're noticing that they're too doughy in the center, and let them fully proof before that they go into the fryer, okay? But then you get these really nice, beautiful looking apple fritters. And my suggestion is, you've got that donut glaze from all your other donuts, go ahead and dip one side of that apple fritter in that clear donut glaze, and just let that heat while it's still hot, and the heat will just pull that donut glaze away, and it'll become nice and clear and deliciously shiny looking. That's really the fry demo in a nutshell. I covered a ton of different things here today, showed you a couple of garnishing techniques, how to properly use the fryer. The second question for the assignment that I would like for you to answer is, what are the pros and cons of having a fryer in your operation? What are the health benefits and the things that are going to hurt your customers? And what are the things to be aware of? What are some safety hazards, not only for your customer using fried oil and fried foods, but for your employees that are dealing with these fryers, okay? Hit a couple key points on that for me. That'll be your second question, and you have one more video to watch with the third question for this assignment, okay? I hope you loved it. I had fun with you guys, and hopefully I get to see you soon, because I hate doing this so much. Have a good day.